Hi, everyone.
Greetings all. We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We're doing verses 10 to 15. First of all, from the ESV and then from the New World Translation. Here he has been talking about divisions among the early Christians, and he continues that discussion here, talking apparently tangentially about one of the divisions. We'll get to that in a minute. According to the grace of God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and someone else is building upon it. Well, he said previously that he planted and Apollos watered. Now he's talking about what every Christian builds upon this foundation that he has laid. Let each one take care how he builds upon it, for no one can lay a foundation other than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now, if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become manifest. For the day, and here he has in the ESV capital D day, the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through fire.
And then the New World has a few changes, especially right at the beginning here. According to the undeserved kindness of God, I took out the word grace. According to the undeserved kindness of God that was given to me, I laid a foundation as a skilled master builder, but someone else is building on it. But let each one keep watching how he is building on it. For no one can lay any other foundation than what is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if anyone builds on the foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or straw, each one's work will be shown for what it is. So that was a change. For the day will show it up, because it will be revealed by means of fire, and the fire itself will prove what sort of work each one has built. If anyone's work that he has built on it remains, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved. Yet if so, it will be as through fire.
So what is he alluding to when he talks about building on another foundation? Well, it might be, and several very famous commentators have made this point, he may be referring to the Cephas group that he's alluded to in chapter 1. He's just mentioned Apollos here. Remember, he said, some say I am of Paul, some say I am of Cephas, some say I am of Apollos. Well, he's just mentioned Apollos. Now, this might be a tangential reference to Cephas. And we all know the problem that Protestants and Jehovah's Witnesses object to in the Roman Catholic way of looking at the church. Peter is the foundation. Now, is Paul talking about that claim that some followers of Cephas were making? We can't be absolutely sure, but that's a very strong suspicion we have of making an extravagant claim for Peter, not setting Peter against Paul, but saying Peter is the primate that you need to listen to. He's the first among the apostles.
Prior to this, he was talking about himself and Apollos, one planting, one watering. So could the works be, individual people build on the foundation, but the foundation is always Jesus.
Yeah.
That's the rock. Jesus is the foundation. That's solid. But your works might vary in their quality. So, I recall a sermon at a circuit overseer gave at one of our circuit assemblies, and I loved it. And he was talking about this, and he was talking about specifically the wood, hay, and straw, and he started by telling the story of the 3 little pigs. So, of course, my ears perked up right away when he said he was going to tell us.
Of course.
The story of the 3 little pigs. But it's a good illustration. depending on what you built on that rock, you could suffer loss. They all the 3 pigs suffer loss because, well, 2 of them anyways, because they don't build with good quality materials on top.
That's right.
But they're all saved in the end, too. So that's not the point he was making. But here, that seems to be the point. Even if your level of materials that you're building with is not good, it doesn't disqualify you. Whereas in the Watchtower world, everything is so cut and dry, black and white. If you had to suffer loss, your work was burned up, you would be considered unfaithful.
Yep.
And you'd be gone.
Yep. And faithfulness is measured by what you do with Jehovah's priorities, not your priorities, right? So if you mistake the work you're doing and
or what the foundation is.
Or what the foundation is, well, that disqualifies you as a Christian if you don't know the foundation. And that brings into the question, not the Protestant Catholic thing, Peter, Paul, etc. It brings up whether Jesus Christ has ever been the foundation of the Watchtower.
Yeah.
And that, if you know the answer to that, and I think every active Jehovah's Witness, not just every ex-witness, knows the answer, which is that Jesus Christ is never the foundation. He was not the message from the beginning, and he's certainly not what you build your faith on.
You view him kind of as just a superior human.
Who has to be faithful like you were, and is a good example.
Yeah, but he's one of your fellows.
Now, it is true they have an atonement doctrine that, of course, is about the perfect man and how he can atone for your sins somehow, but that's not the Jesus that Paul knows. Mm-hmm. And so this idea that you can be saved even though your works prove to be not God's works, obviously if they're burned up, that's an alien idea to a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Not a concept we ever had.
And what is the foundation then of a witness's faith? Well, we all know what it's been from the beginning. Consistently, it's been the idea of an invisible presence, and therefore tied to now. It's tied to 1914 and the organization concept, but back then it was tied to Charles Taze Russell in 1874 just as firmly. Mm-hmm. So that was your foundation, the date for the invisible presence and the authority of the faithful and discreet slave. From the very beginning, that's been the consistent pattern, even though you define those dates and even the person who's the faithful slave differently.
Yeah. Because you affirm that God chose your people, your organization, and you have to come through them. Well, then they become the foundation.
And because that has been your work since the beginning, it will all crumble or burn away when that day comes, because it's not built on the foundation, which is Jesus Christ.
Well, who never fails.
Yeah, he's immovable. Mm-hmm. So we've done some videos on that, right?
Yeah, but you also wanted to read some quotes?
Oh yeah, this is F.F. Bruce on this reference to the rock here. What's the other foundation? This is page 44 of F.F. Bruce's commentary, 1 Corinthians. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. He says, it is conceivable that some of the Peter party, depreciating Paul's apostolic claims, had told the Corinthians that it was to Peter that Jesus said, you are Peter, and on this rock, that is Petra, I will build my church, Matthew 16:18. Paul assures them that the only foundation that can be laid for the church is Christ himself, and that was the foundation which Paul had laid at Corinth with his preaching of Jesus Christ and him crucified. The concept of Christ as the foundation, natural in itself, was strengthened in the early church by the use of Isaiah 28:16. Behold, I am laying in Zion for a foundation a stone, a tested stone. And that text was frequently conflated with other stone passages in the Old Testament as a testimonium or a testimony of Christ. No one else, whatever the meaning of his name, could fill this role. And you have Robertson Plummer in the International Critical Commentary, which was the English commentary for several generations.
I don't know what year it is, but
Oh,
isn't it
it's
contemporary?
Contemporary with Russell and Rutherford.
Yeah. Okay, so he's talking on verse 14. He says, the nature of the reward is not stated, but it is certainly not eternal salvation, which may be won by those whose work perishes. Something corresponding to the 10 cities and 5 cities in the parable may be meant. Opportunities of higher service. Yeah. That was a good comparison.
Yeah, that's an interesting insight that we forget about those parables. They all seem to have the same lesson, the stewardship parables, that you'll earn your rewards based on your works. But that's not the same thing as being saved. Witnesses don't make this distinction, do they?
Yeah. They all get rewards, but they're not the same rewards. They're not the same quantity. And usually it's more work.
More responsibility. Not just more status, more responsibility in the world to come. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's our link?
We are linking a video called The Rock. Another question for Jehovah's Witnesses. Whose name is on the indestructible faith?
Yeah, based on that passage that Bruce is talking about here, Matthew 16:18. Who is the rock in this passage?
Good.
See you next time.
Bye.